maybe just to rule the world. The other girls wanna pull you in to cash the win, or maybe just to pick up a girl.
And we're back here at the GSL, guys. What's up?
Yay.
That had a little bathroom break. Had our
I had to pee, man.
forecast. Yeah, we
had to do it.
Drank a lot of water.
Had to be done.
Sorry we weren't here right away, but everything's fine now. We're here. We're ready.
Yeah. I'm really excited, actually.
My heart is full of energy. My bladder completely empty. I could not be in better
mine. I
condition
had to
right
stop midstream.
now.
Man.
Did you?
Yeah, they're like, it's starting. I'm like, no.
You're like, oh, that hurts when I do this, but I have to do it for the nerds.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll have another 5-minute break after two more games, Artosis. So you sit tight. All right, let's take a look at the video.
가기 전에
See the drama
보내주고 가야 될 것 같아요.
김동원 슬레이스 령.
네, 한 번도 안 해봤는데 갑자기 뽑으셔가지고 그냥 별 생각이 없어요. 저도 와가지고 약간 좀 물어보고 이것저것 해서 뽑게 됐어요. 다음 시즌에 결승에 가면은 미국에서 한다고 그러더라고요.
네.
근데 이번 시즌에는 목표는 딱히 없고요. 그냥 버텨가지고 다음 시즌 결승에 올라갈 수 있는 발판을 마련하고 싶어요.
와요.
테란
혜태.
한희석.
한혜석?
네, 딱 나왔을 때 그냥 뽑힐 것 같다 그냥 이 생각했었어요.
오?
그냥 좀 연습을 많이 해가지고 이기면은 다시는 안 뽑을 것 같아요. 제가 코데이 3번 했는데 2번을 다 이 두 분한테 떨어졌거든요.
김정훈.
저 지명을 당하는 선수는
슈퍼노바 오제스탑 김정훈.
김정훈입니다.
제가 영진이보다는 쉬웠나봐요.
제가 좀 늦게 뽑혀가지고 원래 토스 뽑으려 했는데 그냥 좀 좋게 생각해주세요.
네.
이번에는 저번에 한번 지옥을 한번 갔다 오기 때문에 목표가 16강입니다.
마지막까지 남아있는 거 보면 되게 좋게 평가해 주시는 것 같아요, 선수분들이.
네.
그런 평가에 저버리지 않는 경기력으로 열심히 해보도록 하겠습니다.
원래 승강전도 못 하실 수 있는 거였는데 운 좋게 와일드카드전에서 한 거 보니까 아직은 에스코드에 있어야 될 선수가 아닌 것 같아서 제가 다시 꼭 이겨서 A코드로 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 네, 이번 시즌에는 코드 S에 잔류해서 승강전에 한 번도 안 가본 선수들에게 승강전의 고통을 느끼게 해줄 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
김정훈 선수 제가 저번에 만났을 때는 허무하게 졌지만 이번 시즌에는 제가 지옥을 갔다 왔기 때문에 달라진 모습과 그냥 커피를 마시듯이 쉽게 이겨드리겠습니다.
한혜 선수 제가 예전에 쉽게 이겼던 것 같은데 이번에도 똑같이 한번 쉽게 이길 것 같아요. 죄송한데 또 제가 이기겠습니다.
Sick.
Yeah.
Some nerd trash talk going down. I love it when it's trash talk.
Yeah, it's
We
it's pretty
talked a
interesting
lot
to see what they say to each other, man.
We both talked a lot of trash back when we were.
I still talk a lot
Actually, we still talk a lot of trash. All right. Here is our only Protoss in the group, but this guy is definitely a heavyweight. TricKsteR.
Yeah, man. He's been one of the top Protosses in the world since, maybe day 10 of the beta. He's really good, man. He's really good. He's
sort of
had a lot of deep finishes, but no wins yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, he kind of strikes you as one of these tragic heroes.
Yeah, he actually...
Of Protoss.
Last season, he basically had Lucira. Remember that?
Right.
He had some great builds laid out. It seemed to me like he had him. And then Lucira fought back with amazing prowess and destroyed the TricKsteR.
Yeah, so I feel like TricKsteR still, at least his attitude is he has a lot to prove still. And you could see clearly, I mean, he's picked some pretty scary, he's in a pretty scary group, and he's still pretty confident.
Yeah. Well, one thing we do have to point out is all his opponents are Terran.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, if you're going to go in just one matchup, you only have to practice that one matchup versus somebody that might have practiced 3.
Well, his opponent in the first round will be Ryung. And, of course, Ryung, a very good Terran from Slayers. Really, when I think of Ryung, and I think most people are the same, they think of his amazing, his dazzling, his stunning Terran versus Terran.
I do.
Yeah, that's what I said. Most people, man.
Well, you know, the
Most
Slayers
people.
team actually has some sick TDT.
Yeah, they have sick everything, man.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is
I
sick.
especially think about their TDT. I mean, maybe they are more balanced than I think, but whenever I go back to any Slayers player, it's almost always back into some Terran versus Terran.
Well, we will see. Can Ryung fight off the might that is TricKsteR? TricKsteR comes up with some really cool builds, man. He has very technical rushes. He has, you know, kind of the Ogre Club rushes, where he just kind of bashes over the head with Warp Gate units. He also has some other really awesome builds. One of my favorites that he has come up with in PvT is the 9-Stalker harassment against a very fast command center.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great builds. Ryung, a little bit younger here compared to somebody like TricKsteR, who's actually been a pro gamer for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's old, man. He's actually...
Is he older than us?
He's the same age as you.
He is? All right.
So, Calderum Ultra Tasteless, it's starting.
Let's do this. The game is loading. TricKsteR against Ryung. Let's see if this veteran can take on somewhat of a pro gaming rookie here in comparison. And so much on the line right now, as it is the first match of this group. And the results of this game and our next game are going to kind of make up how the rest of these matches go. So a lot of pressure on these guys. Ideally, they'd want to win it 2-0, but that doesn't always happen when you have competition this high in the GSL Code S.
Who's that, Tasteless?
Who? Over there in the upper left?
Yeah.
Well, we could call him TricKsteR. We could call him Sokisu. And then we changed his name to Sagisu. But right now his ID is...
Hope Torture.
No!
TricKsteR.
Now, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 there. His eyes are darting all over the place.
Yeah, man. These nerds need to do with confidence. We need to do some of these little photo shoot things.
In the
Show
up-
them how it's done.
In the upper right, in the blue, we have, mentored by Slayers Boxer. He is
Nobody.
Ryung.
Oh, he had a deadpan stare right there.
cold
He
killer
didn't
look.
care at all. He was like, I should
like
be
it.
practicing. Yeah.
I need to get back to my computer.
Give him a 9 out of 10 because it's cool
Oh, yeah.
with his style, but the way he did it is acceptable as well.
Oh, no, I like it. Hey, all right, so far Ryung has beaten TricKsteR in the intro part
Yeah.
of our show. Yeah, I agree. Oh.
Oh, look at that. It's a broken mule. Look at all of his pieces. You know what
You
I would
get
do?
puzzle
is
back in here, you
just-
could put it back together.
I was going to say something about an SCV putting it back together and you have like infinity mules eventually.
Ooh.
Boy, that'd be funny.
Yeah, if you're Terran. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, Ryung has gone for a gas opening. TricKsteR, he's just on the standard Protoss opening so far. Protoss openings never really deviate this early.
Right.
He is chrono boosting out his first Zealot very, very quickly. Now, there's something cool that you can do, of course, with a chrono boosted out Zealot. And that is you just kind of walk it over to your opponent's base and send it in. And you can easily get scouting done with that if they don't wall in. Now, Ryung is walling in, but his wall in isn't closed yet. So we'll have to see if he closes it before that Zealot gets there. And if he does, that Zealot's kind of a waste. Like, it'll be useful later, but you don't want to make a Zealot early if you don't need
If
it.
you can't use it, it's not going to optimize your build at all.
This is, of course, if you have a ramp, it's a lot easier to hold things without a Zealot. On this map, if someone goes for one of these Marauder rushes, then you're going to want the Zealot anyways, but if they're not, you don't want it. So,
Right.
and oh my god, we're going to see a Reactor Hellion opening by Ryung. I love it. I love Reactor Hellions.
Well, it's really
in this
good considering
matchup.
there's a Zealot that came out first.
Oh, certainly, yes. That's a good point. And people actually underestimate how good Hellions actually are in low numbers against low numbers of Protoss units. They actually beat pretty much everything Protoss has early. 4 Hellions
Well,
beat
you know,
a Stalker easily without a loss.
Yeah, I mean, they're great against Zealots, but then the truth about Stalkers is that although they're great shooting stuff. They actually have to have something else that's taking the damage.
Oh, and he gets that SCV out of there.
Is he going to get it back inside?
Jive and Tasteless. Beautifully done.
Very sexy by Ryung. Ryung sounds like a noise someone would make if the tongue had been cut off. They're like trying to say something else. They come out Ryung.
What does the ladder have? Ryungs. All right.
You made my weird squeaky bird laugh come out. I was like, oh, hold on. We have the rush continuing to come.
TricKsteR is actually in a lot of trouble, Tasteless. He's going 3-gate, and he is attacking a lot right now, but these Hellions are going to actually be able to take out everything as the other two pop out. The army of Ryung is actually better than the army of TricKsteR. As soon as these two Hellions pop out, much better.
Now, he's getting 2 more gateways, though. Do you think it's possible that Terran might get overconfident and counterattack here?
Well, I think he definitely should begin a counterattack at least. And here we go. Now notice that these Hellions are going to rip apart absolutely everything. TricKsteR's going to lose all of these units. But his gates are finishing, his warp gate is finishing. And he might just warp in a bunch of Stalkers. I think that's what we're going to see. 3 Stalkers warping in.
He's got to buy more time right now. Oh, and I think he just saw the pylon.
He did indeed, Tasteless, so he knows what's coming. He's going to go back behind. Or no, he's not going to, in fact. The gate's just opening now.
Everything right now, oh, even the tree is on fire. Everything right now going wrong here.
Yeah.
For TricKsteR.
I feel like TricKsteR may have not played against this opening that much before.
Yeah, he seems to be at a loss as to what to do.
Yeah, you know, it is newfangled. Not everyone's using it yet, but it's definitely a very strong build, and I don't see it being that weak against a 3-gate. And that's interesting that he goes 3-gate into an Observer. Very interesting indeed.
Looks like he might get this depot, though.
With a Siege Tank there and a few Marines, no way that these Stalkers are going to do much more.
This Terran build looks like something from Starcraft 1.
Yeah, it really
With
does.
The Marines and the tank and a few vultures.
That's very true, yeah. It looks like almost like a Gundam or something.
Yeah. He does the Gundam push all the way back to the guy's base, makes a bunker, and then we're like, no, this build doesn't actually work, man.
He realizes he has no spider mines, and it falls apart. All right. So, really, Ryung right now is pretty all in. He's just making a ton of Marines. He's getting his combat shields. He's making siege tanks.
By the way, Stalker control here is great coming from TricKsteR.
TricKsteR definitely has some of the best Stalker control I've seen in this matchup.
I'm actually, I have to say, I am really surprised at the amount of stuff he's killing off here.
Oh, absolutely. Because the units that Ryung has kind of counter what TricKsteR has. Marines and siege tanks just do astoundingly well against them. But siege mode is on the way. Combat shield is on the way. Those are both helping out quite a bit. And TricKsteR, his observer, has just gotten to the base. He's going to find out that this is, in fact, an all-in from Ryung. And because he has Robotech already...
I don't know if he should have gone for that tank there. That was actually how you'd stop the StarCraft 1 version of this rush.
Yeah.
But the Hellions still deal so much damage. I think he should just be hitting whatever's actually in the front that he can hit while keeping his Stalkers in the back.
Well, I want to see if TricKsteR's actually going to tech up to Colossus from here. And look at this, going after another one. Oh, and he gets it.
But loses 2 Stalkers and almost a third.
Well, he's doing a good job keeping the numbers of units here down. And as siege mode finishes, 2 more siege tanks would be very helpful for Ryung, which of course he will not be able to have now. And look at that, just non-stop by TricKsteR. He is actually in such good shape right now, Tasteless. He might...
Well, his control is just so good.
Well, you can tell TricKsteR's really motivated at StarCraft 2 right now. You know, he's going to be going to the next MLG. He's always been one of the top players, but doesn't have a championship under his belt. So definitely a very frustrated player in that regard. And he's actually making a Nexus and 2 more gates. So he's actually going to go up to 5 gates with the single Immortal he's made so far to hold this all in. I'm actually in shock and awe that he's making a Nexus, though. I would much prefer for him to very heavily counter this all in.
Well,
and just crush it.
I think he seems to be confident that he can just hold it with his Stalker micro. And he's not making another Immortal, which also surprises me because, I don't know, I would have expected to have one more out there to at least shoot down the tanks.
Well, I got to say, as soon as I see that it's an all-in with Marines and tanks, I grab the quickest Colossus you've ever seen, Tasteless.
Oh, yeah. Not
Well, it's
exactly.
not getting the front gear, and Siege Tank's pummeling.
The moment he saw the siege mode up there, he should have just backed off.
Yeah.
He might have not seen it. Perhaps I'm incorrect. He might have not seen it, but I thought he did.
He's going to want to target on that Siege Tank, and he does. But the Marines
got to keep the Immortal alive.
And I don't know if he will. There are 2 Siege Tanks left. More and more units coming over from Ryung.
He should
and I'm
cancel
pretty
that
sure,
Nexus. Really?
Yeah, Ryung is actually going to
Okay.
bust him. Again, see, he should not have been making that Nexus. He has an Observer in his opponent's base. He knows that this is an all-in. And against a Marine tank all-in, you always need to go Colossus, unless for some reason you can get out a ton of speed Zealots, but that is a whole nother scenario. I'm actually...
All right, Immortal targeting down the tanks here,
does not
but does not manage to get anything. And the Marine's targeting down the Immortal to make sure that doesn't happen. And with that, ooh, that might be something he cannot recover from now.
Yeah, he's pretty dead, Tasteless. He's not breaking through this. In fact, he has another Observer that just popped out. That won't be very helpful, aside from just knowing when the tank's in siege. But now it's leapfrog time for Ryung.
And, yeah, you can just keep leapfrogging these siege tanks forward. TricKsteR losing 2 pylons here in the front. Siege tanks siege it up. Now they're in range of the warp gate, and the Marines continue to move in and poke and then run back once the Protoss tries to engage.
You know, TricKsteR is a great player, Tasteless, but I feel like he has misunderstood some of the basics here in his making a Nexus. Against an all-in, you don't expand. You defend the all-in and then you win. And that's all you need to do.
If your goal is to just survive, invest everything into surviving, not into something that's going to give you an advantage 5 minutes later, because the truth of the matter is that
you don't need that.
You don't need that. That's not how you properly invest time.
Thank you, Tasteless.
Thank you.
You are eloquent.
Thank you, sir. You are handsome. Now the probes come out, and it's going to be a GG.
GG. Ryung takes the
Ryung.
game against TricKsteR. And I got to say, TricKsteR's micro was so impressive. And I love that he got that very quick Observer. But, you know, why get the Observer if you're not going to react to what you're seeing?
And I think that's what TricKsteR's probably thinking right now in his booth as he goes over that. And, you know, he's a smart player, obviously. He probably knows better, but at the time he probably added up the equation itself wrong, and he had to pay for it.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of in shock, because normally when you go to an Observer, you use the information. You don't look at it and say, what can this kill? A Nexus!
You know what's funny about it is that it seems like, if it seems like the way he played would have been one where he had to just skip the robo. He was just doing the stock rush. He's like, okay, there's probably an orbital in the back of my opponent's base.
That exact rush we haven't really seen.
Oh, I've never seen. I
want to throw this out there, because
ever.
some of these Marine tank rushes can be stopped by Nexus plus a lot of warp gate units. Sometimes in certain scenarios. But this was 2 barracks with reactors, 1 barracks with a tech lab, which means upgrades for your Marines, and then siege tanks with siege mode. And that's not one. That's much like what we saw Puzzle die to in the Team League, where it's like, what are you doing? Like, this is actually the Marines. When you're making that many Marines, you really need to go all out to stop that.
And you know, the other factor is that Protoss made a robo, made observers, and then he made like 1 immortal. You know what I mean? Like,
that was a big investment.
That's a lot of money to spend. If you're going to have that, you should be making non-stop immortals or rushing to Colossus, like Artosis said. But instead, he just sort of looked at it and he's like, oh no, I'm going to hold that with just my stalkers. And that's not the case.
Never. Never going to be.
All right, well, we've learned a lot from that game. Here are the results so far. We're going to go on to our next match now. Alive against Top. A little bit of a rivalry here between these two guys.
Yeah, there is a little bit. Top did destroy Alive before, but Alive just keeps getting better and better and better. I like those man-prees.
Those are some nice man-prees we've got going on here for Alive.
His shoes don't really go with his shirt, though.
That's what happens with the team jerseys,
twice, man. You got to
like
buy your
sometimes
footwear
these
to match
guys,
your team jersey.
Sometimes these guys' color of their hair doesn't match your team jersey either.
Yeah,
that's the tough part.
Happens.
Yeah. But what are you going to do, man? You got to keep it real.
It's very true.
Now, Alive is a very, very strong player, but he's had some very, very strong opponents he's had to go up against.
Yeah. This well, here's his opponent, Top. Top, a great macro Terran.
Basically the best macro Terran we've seen. I mean, this guy is
He's very good at macro.
He is somebody who, I think it's like, his defining point is his macro.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, sometimes we see some questionable moves, but he has the economy and the units to back it up. He has the strategies to back it up. And I can't wait to see, Tasteless, out of these two, who's going to mech and who's not going to tech.
We're going to see. Here they are now.
Battle of the glasses.
The battle of bad eyesight. Let's get this going. We got.
It looks to me like Topps glasses are bigger in size, but a bigger prescription on Alive's glasses.
Yeah, it would be a bigger prescription on Lives. It's thicker. I need to get some glasses. Actually, I don't. My vision's like really good, and I don't know why that is. Because all
still quite good.
I don't know why that is. Because all I do is read books and play computer games.
Yeah.
But the
one day face this young.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to get hipster glasses that don't have the lenses in there.
Oh, sick.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tape in the middle. Now think about how sick that would be, Artosis.
And then I go to poke you in the eyes because I think you have glasses on. And I poke you in the eyes, you yell at me, and I say, "Listen, actually, it's your fault because you wore glasses without lenses."
Well, here's the thing,
just have two
Artosis.
smudges on
I'm
your
a
glasses.
hipster nerd, all right?
Yeah.
But I was a hipster nerd before it became mainstream.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
that's the difference.
You were the first hipster nerd?
I was the first hipster nerd.
A rare type
all right?
of nerd you may not have
Now
heard of it.
everybody's doing it. All right. It's over.
Oh, God.
The game is starting. These two Terran Titans are about to duke it out. Alive against Top. Top defeated Alive last time. Alive said it was hell. He wants to get his revenge. Can he do it? We're going to find out momentarily. This is the GSL Codex.